Tonight's episode of Off the Hook is presented by the Boathouse. Whether you are looking for a new boat, accessories, or parts, the Boathouse has been servicing the local boating communities of Oconomowoc, Lake Country area, Madison, Lake Geneva, Southeast Wisconsin for over 30 years. We would be happy to share our knowledge and give you the information to make informed choices. Our job is to help boaters love boating.
A two-run ninth inning from the Wisconsin Woodchucks had them leaving here as victors 6-4. The State Fair Cream Puffs, are now 1-1. Joined by Cream Puff play-by-play broadcaster. The last time I'll be saying that, Matt Menzel, and my broadcast partner, Wyatt Kopelman. I'm Andrew, and we welcome you into Off the Hook, episode 20. Now, Wyatt, it wasn't quite the kitchen sink pitching display as Chinook fans saw right before the All-Star break, but 5 pitchers starting off with Joe Glassy, and then followed up in the 9th inning with Cade Barron and Tyler Kane.
Yeah, Joe Glassy pitched a remarkably shorter outing this time around than his previous two, combined for 11 innings, 5 in the last one, 6 in the one before. So now the Chinooks are 0-9 with Joe Glassy on the mound. Certainly something he's not going to look back on at the end of this season as we start to wind down, but unfortunately he had to come out just after a couple of innings, and then it was Mitch Miller who took over, started to lose a little bit of command of the box, and then he handed over to Miles Halligan, and the Chinooks really just ended up having more of a bullpen day than I think they anticipated, Andrew, and I'm sure, Matt, you would agree as well.
Well, that, coupled with, look at the defense. Yeah, a couple of defensive errors, which honestly is relatively low in comparison to what we've seen in past games lately, but the timeliness of those errors. There was a potential double play ball coming in the 6th inning. Instead, an E6 leads to eventually a Woodchuck run that ties the game at 4. It goes back to what we saw last night when the Woodchucks were able to score first in that game. You have an error in the top of the 1st inning, leads to a Wisconsin run. Luckily, the offense had a response. In this game, there was no response.
And Matt, that first part of the lineup tonight in Ethan Vercumba, Griffin Dorsching, and Jackson Gray really turned up the heat. 6 of 9 hits in that front part of the lineup.
Well, I'm excited to see if Travis Acree goes with these top 3, 1, 2, 3 in that order going forward, because that's been a question mark throughout the course of this season. Who is the everyday leadoff hitter? Who's number 2? Who's number 3? And we've seen Griffin Dorsching all over the place. He's in that number 2 spot, finishing with a couple hits in this game. 5 hits in the series. Ethan Vercumba, he'll be part of the Major League Dream Showcase among 6 Chinooks that will be in La Crosse coming up on a Tuesday, or Cream Puffs as they were here this weekend. But Vercumba with a 2 RBI double in the 5th and another double in the 7th. A number of doubles in this 2-game series. But then Jackson Gray, seeing the ball at beach ball size, an 11-game hitting streak, able to extend that hitting streak, and it did not take very long to extend it with a double in the 1st inning. Had a couple hits in this game, but in the last 11 games, he's also come through with 10 RBIs, so he's fitting beautifully in that number 3 spot in the Cream Puffs or Chinooks batting order.
Yeah, Wyatt, Matt just mentioned Ethan Vercumba and his recent success. You talked to him post-game as the Waterstone Bank Player of the Game. I think you mentioned batting .405 against the Woodchucks, so just talk about his recent success in the leadoff spot, but then against the Woodchucks as well.
Well, Ethan Vercumba's really spelled double trouble for this Woodchucks pitching today. It was multiple guys on the mound. It was Peyton Schofield who did a phenomenal job containing this Lakeshore lineup. I think that he wasn't exactly able to silence Vercumba, but he's hit .405 to your point, Andrew, and he's really just been devastating, whether it's been at Athletic Park. When I did talk to him, he said that the hitter-friendly ballpark atmosphere at Athletic Park has certainly played a huge factor in that. And now he's got Keith Ritchie, the hitting coach, as well as Travis Acree, just playing instrumental parts for his preparation in his sophomore campaign going back to Bloomington this season at Indiana. And I really hope that he can have a breakout season, because he played well in his freshman year, got a numerous amount of starts. Now we'll see if this Lakeshore season, for when he dazzled in the bottom third of the lineup as well as the top third of the lineup, can translate over to Indiana.
Yeah, Wyatt, away from the ballpark for a few days, but on Tuesday, like Matt mentioned, 6 Chinook players are off to La Crosse for the Major League Dream Showcase. Matt, who should we be looking forward to in that day?
Well, the 2 that stand out to me, outside of obviously Griffin Dorsching, who many thought could be drafted this year, hopefully he gets drafted in the future, but you look at Ethan Vercumba, we just talked about him and what he's been able to do, especially as of late now in that leadoff spot. How does he fare now against a lineup like the Major League Dream Showcase provides, but also he's been playing well in the outfield at a ballpark here at Capco Park that's not easy at times to see when that ball is out in the outfield. So be interested to see how he fares at Kopelman Park against potential pro prospects. But I'm also, from a pitching standpoint, watching the local product, Tommy Lamb. He's pitched well. He's had some first inning troubles at times, but He's been pitching some of his best baseball as a Chinook or a cream puff. He's now last couple of outings, so interested to see what he's able to do now against that kind of a lineup come Tuesday. Again, they will be part of the first game that takes place in La Crosse at 4:05. Orlando Salinas, by the way, is going to be facing his teammates. He's playing for the other team in that 4:05 game, so that's kind of interesting too, kind of unique, but certainly watch of Akrumba and Lamb as far as 2 out of the 6 that will be there on Tuesday.
Well, back to your point, just before we get back to you, Andrew, I mean, Tommy Lamb, they say a lot of times in baseball, it's not really how you start, it's how you finish. This guy has retired 8 of 9 batters against the Kokomo Jackrabbits back here at home before the All-Star break, and now we're seeing a guy that's just really upping his pitch count. We've harped on it, the trifecta of pitches, the change, the curve, the heater, and that's something that Ryan Colgate has really pushed for him. This is a guy that Lakeshore knew it would be their number 1 guy coming into this one, and he's really just maintained that role all throughout the season. I think he set a great tone for guys despite some of their struggles going forward, and now you have Miles Halligan, Dorsey Chatham headed out the door pretty soon.
And a reoccurring theme, unfortunately, we saw Joe Glassy again today, and Tommy Lamb certainly fits in that category. A couple of guys, you know, you look at wins and losses, you look at ERA, and maybe not the most attractive numbers jumping off the page, but certainly guys that have certainly deserved a lot better, but the run support just hasn't been there.
Absolutely. And Andrew, I think you can almost harp on the fact that you're looking forward to seeing the Chinooks continue to produce more pitching prospects going forward. You know, we saw Owen Miller get called up to the Indians in late May, right before the season kicked off in Madison on May 31st. Hopefully, they can continue to produce some solid aces as well in the MLB.
Like I mentioned, the Chinooks are away from the ballpark until Thursday, where they face off with the Rockford Rivets. Before then, the Chinooks are in Madison on Monday and Wednesday, with the Major League's Dream Showcase in between the two on Tuesday. For Matt Menzel and Wyatt Kopelman, I'm Andrew Lind. We'll see y'all on Thursday.